How's it going so far?
Good, Chef. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for inviting us.
Absolutely. So, I would be remiss without making sure that we notice that there is a phenomenal seafood restaurant in Providence, because it does sit on the water. It's a little bit different water than some other parts of the states, but Hemenway's does sit on the water, and it's been there a very long time.
And within walking distance of this place.
Absolutely, which was great for the
It
chef
was.
to come over. All right, so let's talk about what you brought me. I actually got to sit down and talk with the chef for a little bit last night and enjoy some wonderful crab. Because like I said, I eat that 3 or 4 times a week to try to bring this down. But I actually got to sit to the bar, have a great glass of wine, have a good conversation last night, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what you brought in first before we get into all the Hemenway's history.
Sure, this is actually our new scallop dish. We just changed this over about a couple weeks ago. This is pan-seared George's Bank sea scallops. It's served with a summer corn pudding.
Nice.
With a hash of potatoes, peas, and roasted tomatoes. And then the sauce is a tomato consomme.
Beautiful.
Nice and light. And actually,
Scallops are beautiful.
they
size.
are, yeah.
Beautiful.
What's great about this dish is actually the corn's going to get nicer within the season, and then also the tomatoes are as well.
And you said this is new, right?
This is new, yep,
Okay.
about 2 weeks old. And then this is our skate wing Milanese. We're actually going to run this for Restaurant Week in a couple weeks. Skate wing, skate is looks like a stingray.
Okay, yeah.
And we just eat the wings of it. You can actually fillet it.
I don't know if I've had skate, so skate is lighter, right?
It is, yeah. The
Okay.
texture is a little. It's different than you would say a finfish.
Okay.
It's a little not stringy, but just the texture is a little bit different compared to, let's say, a cod or like a loin fish.
Okay, all right.
It's very delicate. So what we've done here is we've just breaded it lightly in some panko. We finished it with a brown butter sauce with some capers. We topped it with an arugula salad with roasted broccoli rabe,
Oh my
some
God.
potatoes, and then we put a little bit of escabeche or pickled vegetables in there as well.
Broccoli rabe is like, I love broccoli rabe.
Yeah.
Anything with broccoli rabe is amazing. So this is going to be for restaurant weeks, you're saying?
Yeah, yep.
So restaurant weeks, I believe, is in a couple weeks. It's like the second, third week in
It's-
July, right?
Yeah, right
So-
after the 4th of
Right
July.
after the 4th. So
Yep.
right around that time. So that is something that we'll probably talk about a little bit more next week, right after the 4th of July holiday. But restaurant weeks is an amazing opportunity to go out and try out these restaurants throughout, not just Providence, but throughout the state that participate. And this dish looks amazing. Usually it's courses. It's like 3 courses on the
Yeah,
weeks
restaurant
menu,
week,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, to do that. So this is a good excuse to go try out this special dish that Chef has created. So Chef, let's talk a bit, let's do some wine first. Right?
Sure,
That's
yeah,
important
yeah.
first. So what do we got here?
So this is
for
a Jordan Chardonnay.
Russian River.
You got it.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's lightly oaked. My wife actually doesn't really like Chardonnays, but I believe she would like this one.
Really?
It's really light.
Your wife and my wife should talk, because all my wife's drinking is red wine now. I can't get her to drink anyway, which is okay for me, because I'm drinking all the way, but.
It's really light. It's citrusy. It doesn't have that heavy Chardonnay like butteriness to it. It's pretty clean.
Yeah, you don't smell like the butter on it.
No. We have this by the glass or by the bottle.
Oh, it's very light. This is actually delicious.
Yeah,
Very
it's,
nice.
it's like a European style Chardonnay.
Kate's saying save some. We have to save some. We'll save you some. We won't drink it all in the next 10 minutes.
You
And
promised.
I promised. I promised.
Promises.
And anything from Russian River is amazing, so this
Yeah.
is great.
Yep.
So, Chef, I have a unique history, and I was telling the chef a little bit last
Yes.
night with Hemenway's, is that
This is true.
right out of, not even right out of college, in college, I did an internship for Ned Grace, and the company was called Bugaboo Creek Inc.
Yep.
at that point, and they owned Bugaboo Creeks that used to be around, the Capitol Grills, and then some of his singular style family restaurants were
Yeah.
Hemenway's,
Hemenway's, yeah.
the old Grist Mill, and a couple others. So Hemenway's I was going to since literally, I want to say 1991 or 1992. And then when I graduated from college, I stayed on and was a marketing coordinator for them. It was my first job out of college.
Wow.
And I traveled around, I wish I was opening Hemenway's because I would have been eating seafood all the time, but I traveled around opening Capitol Grills in Bugaboo Creek. So there was a really cool history behind Hemenway's that
Mhm.
was there, and had a special meeting to the founder, to Ned Grace.
Oh, definitely.
Who was the founders there. Can you, and how long have you been to Hemenway's now?
I've been the executive chef for about 4 years.
Okay.
Actually, this past May was 4 years, and you know, it's a beautiful restaurant, and I knew that going into it, and it has such history that when I actually really approached the restaurant, I really needed to be careful because it does have this rich history in Rhode Island, and I didn't want to upset the people that have been going there for 30 years.
Right. It's got, and that's the truth.
Most
There's been
definitely.
people that have been going there since its conception.
Yeah, and Ned Grace's name is still there. I mean, it still resonates within the building. So
Right.
I've been there, and then actually we're part of the Newport Harbor
Right, which is
restaurant group.
another great group of restaurants. So
Yeah.
tell us just about a couple of those restaurants so people can kind of get the
So
idea.
I actually came from the Boathouse. I was a sous chef there. That's in Tiverton, Rhode Island. Then we
Yeah.
have Castle Hill, which is
gorgeous destination, right on the water.
That's in Newport, and then we have the Mooring, Trio out in Narragansett.
And you got Waterman Grill here.
Waterman Grill, yeah, Chef Noah.
Yep.
He's the man.
Chef's great. I have a good friend that works over there.
Yeah,
So
nice.
that group, and hopefully we'll bring in some more from that group as well, because it is a tremendous group and another asset to the state of Rhode Island. That you guys have all become kind of partners in the restaurant business and
Oh, yeah.
growing Newport Harbor.
Yeah, sustainability. Just doing the right thing. That's our company motto.
So Hemenway is all about the seafood. Not that you don't have other things.
No,
on the menu,
but definitely.
But it's all about
We
the
are
seafood.
heavy in seafood. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about. I mean, these dishes are phenomenal. I eat both of these in 2 minutes. So, but let's talk a little bit about your menu overall. Tell us a little bit about some of the other things that guests can expect to find on Hemenway's menu, because you do have a lot. Talking about going back 30 years, for people
yeah.
going there, is that if you're in that comfort zone and going there are definitely other things that you should try.
Definitely.
And if you haven't been to Hemingway's, first of all, where the heck have you been? Second of all, you have to go because the chef's going to tell us about some of these great things.
So lobsters, we have a lobster tank that is active in the front of the
As
restaurant.
soon as you walk in, it's right
So
there.
we literally pull your lobster and cook it for you. So that's always a go-to. And then we have our signature dishes, which is like we have our fresh cod, salmon, whichever way you'd like to have it prepared. And then we also have chef specialties, and then our raw bar, which is a big draw to
Right.
everybody.
Yep.
You can actually sit at the raw bar and hang out with our shuckers, and they can serve you. And
And
they're a
besides
great
being
time.
good at opening things, they're actually pretty entertaining.
They
the
are, yeah,
shuckers.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
really good at
Most
entertaining you.
definitely.
So I had this picture that I found that I put up in promoting the chef's appearance, and it's got this list. You're standing with a fish,
Yeah.
this giant
That's
fish,
a striper.
the striper,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then behind it has got this list of all these things that you were offering.
Yeah.
So people were like, okay, did they do that for the picture, or does he really have that
Yeah,
much stuff
yeah.
that you're offering at one
We
time?
do, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's the core of everything that we do.
Right.
It's just fresh fish.
So, and that's something else. So let's talk about the locally sourced. I mean, to be able to keep it that fresh, you're sourcing constantly.
I am, yeah. I get fish in every day. Every day we do. And then, so this is George's Bank sea scallops. I do get these from Foley Fish. These are prime, top 10% of the catch.
Okay.
And the skate wing is actually, this is a Cape Cod skate wing.
Cape Cod.
Yep. There are lots of other fish in the sea besides cod, and this is one of them that is underutilized and people don't really.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is that so? I needed an education on that
You-
too. But now it's making me want to try it.
You
just
should,
the way
because
explained
it's delicious. It's again, it's buttery and it's just it's not what you think it's going to be.
So let's talk about that for a second, because that's a good point about educating from that standpoint. Is that there's a lot of other fish in the sea, as you put it. What are some of the other fishes that you guys get in that are, let's say, lesser known, that people are just starting to experiment with, and because of probably the way that you're presenting it and cooking it, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
to put it out there. So what are some of the other samples of fishes that are?
So actually, right now today we have some mako shark that we brought in. That's fresh. We also bring in. I love bluefish. It kind of has a stigma to it. People think that it's a fishy fish, but if it's treated correctly, it's actually really. It's just a high in fat, so it has.
So it's
that-
how you prepare it again.
Yeah, it has to be fresh and it has to be cooked correctly. We do a whole fish of the day, so we have Acadian redfish sometimes, scup, which are
Scup. So that's one of the
sea
ones.
bream and porgy. It has multiple names. So the scup, they used to call it bait fish,
Bait fish. That's
but
what
it's
I was looking for the name
delicious.
of it. Okay.
It tastes
Because they used to use it to catch other fish.
Yeah, it's a bottom. Well, it eats crustaceans.
Okay.
So anything that eats like scallops or squid, they tend to be a sweeter fish as opposed to finfish that'll eat other fish that are not so sweet.
Gotcha.
Like tautog, that's a very seasonal and local fish.
Tautog.
Yeah, sometimes it's mistaken for blackfish,
Okay.
but they have these teeth. They actually have teeth, not just like little razor sharp things. And if you open up their mouth, they actually have. It almost looks like human lips.
Get out of here.
But they actually dig into the mud and they'll get the clams and they'll crunch them open, and then that's why they're so sweet. And the texture on that's a little. It's almost similar to it's like a sweeter, not as heavy catfish.
Okay.
And there's when the dandelions are popping, that means you're going out to go get some tautog. It's a springtime.
Really?
Yeah.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, because that alone, the tautog, and I want to make sure I try that.
Mhm.
See, that's one of the things for me, and I'm hoping that in doing these segments for people is getting people to be a little more adventurous when it comes to these things.
Definitely.
Because
Me too.
I've no, and I'm a big person that was set in my ways for so long, and then when I was in the restaurant business or I worked with my clients that are in there, I
Mhm.
found that I've tried lots of different things. So it comes down to me is how it's explained.
Mhm.
You know, so from you down to your servers explaining it, and I have to say the staff at Hemenway's is top notch. I mean,
They are.
There
They
isn't
are.
anything that I've been able to, that I've asked that hasn't been able to get answered,
Yeah.
which is to your credit. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But to be able to try these newer styles of seafood coming out, because there are some fish that are extremely well known, but are getting harder and harder to get.
Oh, definitely.
Because of, you know, the populations have dwindled from them, I guess.
Mhm.
So to be able to have that opportunity that you guys are sourcing locally to bring this in is a huge thing to your credit. So from that perspective, what would you say, like, how many different types of fish are you carrying at any given time? I mean, being that the majority of your menus there, and you're getting
We're
these
probably
things
about
out,
between 12 and 15.
12 and 15 different
Counting,
fish.
so scallops up to cod.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That's a tremendous amount. So wine education from there, and I know that you've got some great staff and straight bartenders. Obviously, everybody knows I enjoy Chardonnay, so this is a great day for me. You haven't seen I haven't put my glass down yet. This program with you guys have won awards for your lists over
Mhm,
there.
we have.
Wine Spectator
Yes,
Awards and
yep.
so forth, and this is big for your company. For
It is,
Newport Harbor.
it is, yep.
So do you find that the guests coming in are not just experimenting with new dishes, but are also working with your staff and your teams and pairing up with things to try and complement the food?
Most definitely. It's something like the Jordan. It is a little pricey, but it's something you don't have to buy a
That's
whole
great.
bottle. You can just come in and get a glass and try it, and I guarantee you're going to like it because it is a beautiful wine.
Right.
And we're always updating we update about every quarter, every couple
That you're
months.
changing the list
Yeah,
around.
just to keep it fresh. And because the people, the guests ask us to get certain things, so we always try to oblige, and we'll look into it and try to make them happy.
All right, so, and I've got a couple last questions for you, but from this perspective, and these two dishes are wonderful, and your education has been fantastic, so I sincerely appreciate it. But what would you say, two parts, one is what you would recommend that people don't miss on the menu, like something that you prepare, that you enjoy, that's maybe under-eaten, or people need to experiment more,
Mhm.
and then what would you say one of the favorites are that's coming? Because Hemenway's is in this perch that's over there on the water, so on Waterfire nights are busy, conventions, I was in there last night, you had a lot of
Yes,
conventioneers
yep,
in,
we were.
so Hemenway's has this this perfect perch in Providence where you've got a mix of tourism and
Mhm.
locals that are
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
in. I mean, like you said, you've got those people that have been coming for 30 years that probably come once or twice a week,
Yep.
but from the tourism perspective, you're highlighting Providence, you're highlighting us as a destination.
Yeah, a lot of people. The raw bar is huge. They want the oysters. They want the local oysters. They actually want to taste. Actually, Perry was here, and I get Perry's oysters every week.
So you're getting
I
prepared.
do,
All
every
right,
week.
look at that. Talk
Every
about being
Saturday
locally
we
sourced.
get an order from them.
That's awesome.
And what's great about you can when you eat an oyster, it's literally it tastes where it's grown is what it tastes like. So that's what's unique. People come and they want to try our little necks. They want to try our oysters,
Right.
and they want to try the local fish, like the scup and like our whole fish of the day. That's as local as we can get.
So it was funny, so last time I was at the bar, there was a gentleman that was there for the convention that was in town.
Great people.
Yeah, they were like very
They're so
talkative
nice.
and
Yeah.
they're great. They really were.
They were.
And he was from the South. I think he
Yeah.
said he was like Atlanta or something like that. And he was talking about how he's had Rhode Island oysters and some other fish that's come into where he is.
Oh, good.
But it only gets like a certain amount of times.
Yep.
So when he was up here, he had ordered this giant platter of trying to catch up, he said, on having what he couldn't get at home
Most
to do
definitely.
it.
Most
But
definitely.
I think that that's, again, to our credit throughout New England, that we've got a lot of this locally sourced seafood that you can't get in other parts of
Yeah,
the world to come up
most
and do
definitely.
this. All right, so you cover that. Now, a dish that you wouldn't miss, or that's one of your favorites. 'Cause that was one thing. Ask Max what he would suggest.
I'm going to give you my wife's favorite. It's the seafood casserole.
Ah, safe. He
Seafood
played it
casserole.
safe.
Must- so it's got lobster, cod, scallops, and shrimp, and then we do a sherry cream sauce with it. We just lightly bake it with a little bit of cheese.
Your wife knows what she's eating.
She does, yeah. She loves it. Every time she comes in, she eats it. And then my favorite would be actually the scallops. Not to toot my own horn, but I really do. These scallops are super sweet, and they're can't go wrong with them. Every time every time I can get scallops, I order them. So.
That's amazing. So now, is there anything new coming up for Hemenway's? I know you said you rotate the menu on a regular basis. It's probably my last question for you.
Yeah, so we're going to be updating our dessert menu shortly. We just did a dinner revamp, so that was about 2 weeks ago, and now we'll be looking into doing maybe a summertime switch for our lunch. We do have a power lunch for during the week, so if you come in for $22, you can have a salad or soup, and then you get an entree, and then we actually give you a fresh baked cookie to go back to the office. So that's something that
That's a nice power lunch.
It
I'm
is,
okay
it
with
is.
that. I'm pretty good with that.
yeah. Other than that,
So, and now, you guys have got, is the patio, last night I was, the patio is open up.
the
right?
patio
No
is
fresco
open.
dining?
Yep.
So you've got the patio dining, you've got in there, and there's even I've been to several private events in the back. You've got an event space that's in the back of the restaurant.
Yeah, we call it the Regatta Room.
The Regatta, okay.
And yeah, we have somebody who actually, our function, Sarah is our PDR person, what should we call her?
Okay.
So she takes care of all the functions, so if you ever want to plan something.
Well, that was
Sarah
one of the things that
calls.
people asked me, is that they said they've seen groups in the back. I lost the message, but they've seen groups in the back and that be used on a regular basis. So
It can, yeah.
it is, and I've been there for parties. And it's nice. No, it's nice because it's right. You're right in the back, so
It
you're
is-
not private.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and you got the view of the water
The
outside.
water,
Yeah, so it's really nice.
Sarah Salem.
There you go. Check out Sarah. Well, Chef, this has been incredibly educational. Thank you for bringing
Yeah,
this.
thank you for
wonderful
having me. This is
and
great.
thanks for making the time. I have to do a quick selfie with the chef before I bring in our next one because I got to say I knew him when. So I'm going to do this, and then we'll